let's learn about the clock. Tick tock, the analog clock. You see them on the wall in your classroom or the hall. A lot of people wear them on their wrist. It's the analog clock. Now sing after me and let's learn about the analog clock. Analog clocks can be the shape of a circle.
Analog clocks can be the shape of a circle.
The numbers on the clock go from 1 to 12.
The numbers on the clock go from 1 to 12.
A short hand and long hand go round and round.
A short hand and long hand go round and round.
Both hands go round all day and night.
Both hands go round all day and night.
And we always say, oh clock, on the hour. A short hand tells the hours on the clock.
A short hand tells the hours on the clock.
A short hand moves one number each hour.
A short hand moves one number each hour.
A long hand tells the minutes on the clock.
A long hand tells the minutes on the clock.
A long hand goes all around each hour.
A long hand goes all around each hour.
And we always say, oh clock, on the hour. Whoa, tick tock, let's learn about the clock. Tick tock, the analog clock. Tick tock, let's learn about the clock. Tick tock, the analog.
To learn all about telling time today. So looking at this little chart I made, or Miss Holly made it. She's the artist. I cannot draw. It says, what does the clock say? And so we are going to be looking at an analog clock today, and we're going to be trying to tell time. Now, first graders need to know how to tell time to the hour and to the half hour. And that's the only two we learn in first grade. So today's lesson is all about how to tell time to the hour. So let's look at our clock. Like I said just a second ago, the analog clock looks like this. This is called an analog clock. It's got the numbers around. And we also have something called a digital clock. A digital clock is kind of like my watch. It doesn't have the hands. It's just the numbers. So here we are looking at the analog clock today. Some keywords I want you to look at. We talked about analog. We've talked about digital. We're going to talk about those more. But this word right here, hands, this isn't just like your hands. The lines that you see on an analog clock are called hands. You might hear someone say, the hand is on the 12. The long hand is on the 6. The short hand's on the 2. Hands means the lines that you see on a clock. All right, we are going to get started looking at this clock. And I have another clock I want to show you too. So this clock doesn't have any hands on it. So we're going to put some on it. I want to see if you notice me do something. There's one hand. Now clocks have two hands that we use in first grade. All right, let's look closer. We see two hands. One is long, one is short. Anytime this long hand points to the 12, that means o'clock. And I kind of wrote you a little cheat sheet right here. When you see the long hand on 12, that means o'clock. So we know this is going to be o'clock. Long hand on the 12, o'clock. When you have a short hand pointing to a number, that is the hour hand. The short hand is the hour hand. So the short hand is pointing to the 3, long hand at 12. So how I would say this is I would say it's 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. Now I want to show you some more with this clock that I have. So I'm going to move these around. I'm going to put my long hand on the 12, and I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to put my short hand here. All right, so looking at this clock, the hour hand, the short hand, is on the 8. The long hand is on the 12. So how would I write this? I would say it is 8. What does that mean when it's on the 12? When the long hand is on the 12? O'clock. And this is what o'clock looks like. So here's the analog and the digital. The hour goes on this side of these little dots that you see, and the minutes go on this side. Now we're going to play around with this. Let's do some more. Let's say, I'm going to leave it on the 12 because that's all we're practicing today. And I'm going to move it, let's just go here. So we know when it's pointing to the 12, that means o'clock. And this is what o'clock looks like. 0, 0, o'clock. Because there's 0 minutes past that hour. It means 0. What's the hour hand pointing to? What number is that? 2. So where do I write 2? The hour goes on this side. The minutes go on this side. I kind of think of time like I do tens and ones. I think there's a 10 spot and there's a 1 spot when we're learning 2-digit numbers. It's kind of like time. There's an hour spot and a minute spot. We don't want to mix those up. We don't ever put our 10s with our 1s. We don't ever put our 1s in our 10s place. They go in an order. So does time. Make sure we have our hour and our minutes. Let's do one more before we move on. Okay. I'm going to keep it on the 12 because we're just practicing o'clock. Let's do this one. Ooh. Looks like a straight line. Let's look at it for a second. Now, your short hand is the hour hand. And this is the hour spot. What hour is it? 6. What does it mean when the long hand is on the 12? What does it mean? Thinking about our chart, 12 means o'clock. What does o'clock look like? Does it have any numbers in it? Just 0. This is what 6 o'clock looks like. You might see lots of clocks like this in your kitchen, on your microwave, on your stove, on your coffee pot. Lots of different ways you can see time, digital, and then analog. There's lots of different analog clocks. Some of them don't have numbers. Some of them have numbers called Roman numerals. That's pretty fancy. So what I want you to think about is time and the hands move. And I want to talk to you about the hands moving. Remember, these are the hands. They look like lines or sticks, but they're hands. Look at the numbers on this clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It only goes from 1 to 12. Do you know why? Because when let's say you wake up in the morning and it's 7 o'clock. This is 7 o'clock. Let's say you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Shortly after you get up, you're going to start seeing your clock's hands move. And the blue hand's going to go all the way around and go back to the 12. And then it's going to be 8 o'clock. Okay, and then you're going to start noticing the blue hand going around again. And that red hand is barely moving. Do you know why? Because it's an hour. The hour hand just goes from hour to hour, where the long hand, the minute hand, goes by each minute. So, what time is it now? 9 o'clock. The hands on a clock go around the whole clock twice a day, 2 times a day. So there's actually 2 9 o'clocks. There's a 9 o'clock in the morning and there's a 9 o'clock at night. So each day has 2 different time periods where it's the same time, but it's different. You have 9 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock at night. So thinking about time, I want you to be looking at your clocks in your house, and I want you to see if you can find all the o'clocks. Now, we're not ready to move on yet to like 9:30 or 12:30. We're just practicing o'clock. And remember, o'clock means the long minute hand is pointing upward to the 12. All right, so until we see each other tomorrow, I want you to be going around your house and looking for digital clocks like my watch or like this. And I want you to be looking for analog clocks. And I want you to count them. I want you to see how many analog clocks you have and how many digital clocks you have. And when I come back on here tomorrow, I'm going to tell you how many I have in my house. All right, so enjoy your day and I'll see you tomorrow.